You know, when you buy a home, you expect to pay for an appraisal. But what if I told you a huge chunk of that fee isn't even going to the appraiser? Today, we are diving deep into the hidden costs and the powerful middlemen of the home appraisal process. And we're looking at a new platform that's shaking things up with a very simple, very powerful $99 question. It all starts with figuring out who's really calling the shots.
Seems like a simple question, doesn't it? I mean, you're the borrower, you pay for it, your lender orders it, case closed, right? Well, nope. The real answer is a lot more complicated. So who is actually pulling the strings, choosing the appraiser, and setting the price? That's the core issue we're unpacking in this explainer.
All right, so to really get what's changing, we first need to take a look at how things have worked for years. And it turns out the traditional process involves a key player that most people buying a home never even hear about.
And that key player is the Appraisal Management Company, or AMC for short. The easiest way to think of them is as a go-between. Lenders outsource the whole job of finding, hiring, and managing appraisers to these third-party companies. And look, this has been the standard way of doing business for a long, long time. But as you might have guessed, this standard practice has come under some serious fire. The main complaints really boil down to three big things: who pays, who's actually in charge, and how much anybody really knows about what's going on. And you'll see these issues are all tangled up together. Lenders are frustrated because they've lost control over the quality and choice of who they work with. At the same time, borrowers are getting hit with these high fees. But because they're all bundled up and marked up, it's impossible to see where the money is going. And that often means the actual appraiser, the person doing the work, gets a much smaller piece of the pie. And this quote, wow, it really hits the nail on the head. It's from David Cedar, a licensed appraiser and the president of a company we're about to meet. He doesn't mince words, does he? Gouging. He points to a total lack of regulation and transparency. It's exactly this kind of frustration that has created an opening for something completely new. So, in response to all these problems, a new model has finally emerged. And it's a tech-driven solution that's designed to do one main thing: put lenders back in the driver's seat. That solution is a platform called PAM, which is short for Private Asset and Management Group. And the most important thing to know is this isn't just another AMC. It's a tool designed to completely replace them. At its heart, PAM is simply software. It's a system designed to let lenders handle the entire appraisal process themselves, from A to Z, completely cutting out that third-party middleman, period. Okay, so how does it work in the real world? First, a lender using PAM creates its own panel of trusted appraisers they've already vetted. Then, the software automatically and impartially assigns jobs from that list, which is super important for regulatory compliance. Every single step is tracked, creating a crystal clear audit trail, and the lender gets full control back over the quality and the workflow. So what does this all mean in practice? Let's do a direct side-by-side comparison of the old model with this new approach. We'll focus on what really matters: the cost, the control, and the benefits for everyone involved in the deal. And this really lays out the fundamental change. With the old AMC model, the process is outsourced, control is limited, and the fees are basically a black box. But with a PAM platform, it all moves in-house. The lender has total control, and the fee structure is completely transparent. It's a night and day difference. And here is the big headline-grabbing difference: a single flat fee of just $99 per order. Just compare that to the typical AMC management fee, which can be $300, $400, or even more. And that's on top of what the appraiser gets paid. I mean, this visual tells a really powerful story about costs, doesn't it? So how is this even possible? Well, it's actually pretty simple. When you remove the middleman, you remove their markup. The platform's entire business model is built on a high-volume, low-margin software fee, not on taking a huge cut from every single appraisal. So what does this all mean for the person who's actually paying the bill, the borrower? The estimates suggest a potential savings of 25 to 40% on the total appraisal fee. On a fee that's several $100s, that is a significant amount of money back in the borrower's pocket. You know, this model really aims for that rare win-win-win scenario. Lenders get the control and compliance they absolutely need. Appraisers can be compensated more fairly, since that big AMC cut is just gone. And borrowers, they benefit from way lower costs and a much more transparent process. And the business model itself is pretty unique. The company says it absorbs the software costs for both lenders and appraisers, which means they pay nothing to actually use the platform.
The entire revenue stream comes from that single, totally transparent $99 fee paid by the borrower on each and every order. So, this platform is a pretty major potential disruption, which of course leads to the big question, where does the industry go from here? It's really important to remember just how new all of this is. The platform only launched at the end of 2025 and is just now starting to challenge the status quo. So, whether or not lenders will adopt this new technology on a large scale, well, that's the story that's going to unfold over the next few years. And that leaves us with one final critical question. Is this just one new piece of software, or is this the beginning of a fundamental shift? Could technology that gives power back to the primary players make the traditional middleman obsolete? Not just in appraisals, but across the entire mortgage landscape. Now that is the billion-dollar question the industry is now facing.